Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or tea and sit back and let's talk about the day from an astrology and human design perspective and a Gene Keys perspective as well. I hope everyone is having a fine morning and I hope everybody enjoyed the beautiful full moon last night. The clouds broke here for just a minute, just long enough for me to see the full moon shining through what looked like a dragon in the crease of the clouds. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the conjunction to Saturn. First of all, I would have had to stay up until after midnight to be able to see the two bodies being in conjunction. But I tried to tune into it mentally and sort of just, use my powers of imagination to see that the moon and Saturn and Earth were in a conjunction at the full moon last night, which, by the way, occurred at 9:53 my time, which put it just a little after midnight for you all on the East Coast. So meaning that you all at that time probably would have been able to see the conjunction to the planet Saturn as well. Saturn looks like a bright star. It's very golden light, and as opposed to Jupiter, which is brighter and looks more kind of bluish, silvery colored as a star, white light, as opposed to Saturn's more golden light. So I hope you were able to see that. And if not, doesn't matter because you were still experiencing it. So how's everybody feeling this morning in the backlash or the whitewash, if you will, of that full moon? Let's see. Good morning, Mimi. It's good to see you. And I can see Michelle's out there. I can see Roseanne's out there. Everybody's a little slow this morning. Perhaps everybody did stay up late to watch that full moon. It was certainly a beautiful one for the amount of time I actually got to see it. So let's talk about what's going on today then. Today, the moon is still in Capricorn. It will be in Capricorn until late tomorrow evening, which brings me to what will happen tomorrow is a void of course moon from 1:58 a.m. tomorrow morning. So go to bed 1:58 a.m. West Coast time. So what is that? 4:58 a.m. East Coast time to 9:37 p.m. We have a void of course moon. So virtually all of Friday is a wash. All of Friday is a day to catch up, do things that you wouldn't, that have been piling up on your desk perhaps all week. Don't start anything new. Don't try to, go out to interviews and things like that. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, hungover. I can't read what that says. My eyes don't want to read it. Slammed down and discombobulated. Ooh, good words. Good words. And there would probably be a reason for that, right? Because the full moon takes us apart in some ways, or it shows us where we need to be taken apart, where dismantling something is of a better outcome for us than trying to build something. Which is interesting because it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign of the builder, right? It's about building, it's about form, and it's about structure. But sometimes, you've got to implode or explode the structure in order to make it more safe and sound or to build it back up. Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you out there too. So, so we're all in this process then of being restructured, of letting go of old forms, letting go of the crystallized areas in our life that have not been serving us. And today, of course, that process continues. Just because we had the full moon a few hours ago doesn't mean that energy isn't still with us. Today, though, we're adding some more kind of lighter energies to it in that the moon is now in a sextile, which is a 60-degree relationship. That means basically two signs over. So where we have the moon in Capricorn, we have Jupiter in Scorpio, and that would be two signs back from Capricorn. And then we have Neptune in Pisces, two signs forward from Capricorn. And sextiles show a flow in a way that a sharing of the gifts and the talents that you have with the other planet involved. And today, so the moon is in Capricorn, and it is spotlighting, if you will, those more spiritual energies of Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. So what we have really then is maybe in order to rebuild a foundation or the new structure in your life is a possibility of having to expand both your emotional and your spiritual connection first, or along with it. Maybe you have to increase your connection to unconditionally loving both others and yourself, right? Others and yourself. Let me say it another way: yourself and others. And also increasing your connection to God, faith and trust in a higher power, surrendering to the power of the universe, to spirit. And, you can only beat your head against the wall so long before you realize, okay, I get it. Something's going on here. I can't see all of the answers, and I'm just going to have trust, and I'm going to release, and I'm going to surrender, and I'm going to just have faith that there's something bigger here that I'm not seeing. And that's true for all of us at this point in time, because no matter what, you all have these things going on in your chart somewhere. It's the configuration that's different from you to me to everybody, each person individually. And that's where having a reading of your chart comes in handy, because then you know that your Capricorn sits on the 6th house, and that means that puts Jupiter in the 4th, and that puts Neptune in the 7th, 8th. And so you might have to be dealing with transformational energies as well as foundational energies, where if it's sitting somewhere else, you might have to be dealing with money, and you might be dealing with secrets, and you might be dealing with your career. It's different for everybody in that configuration. And that's not even to say, if you have planets on your own in your birth chart in any one of those houses, how this affects you. So some of you may be having some critical things that you're going through, and it may feel really icky, and it may feel like you're maybe the what's that saying? The rug has been pulled out from under you. But is that true? Right? Is that true? And yeah, maybe it is true the rug's been pulled out from under you, or maybe the structures have cracked and broken and fallen, but it's there for a reason. A new one must be coming to replace it. So today is that kind of day, right? Where we can maybe sit back and evaluate a bit around what do we need to form in our lives. I'm caught up right now. You know how I love to share. I'm caught up right now in a place that's really a rock and a hard place, or it's a little disconcerting for me, because I have this energy within me that I'm feeling about restructuring and building something and creating goals and being very deliberate in how my next steps as it relates to my business. And yet I am faced with 3 weeks away here. In 2 days, I leave for California. I'll be gone for 3 weeks. And is there anything I can really do during that 3 weeks that has anything to do with what I'm trying to create here? There you have Mars retrograde in a nutshell, right? This inner pressure, this dynamic, this opening even. And I know what I'm feeling inside is that if I don't take the opportunity now, I'm never going to do it, right? But so not true. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks? I don't know. But I certainly know that that's what's in front of me. And there's no point at which I'm going to be able to push my agenda through, right? There's just no way. So I'm going to have to surrender this idea that, okay, this moon in Capricorn and this Capricorn full moon and this energy in Capricorn of building and, goals and aspirations, and I've got to get on board and I got to do this. I'm exhausted even just saying that. Because really what I'm doing for the next few weeks is dealing with family, being with family, meeting new people, traveling. And that's what's in front of me, for better or for worse. So I have to surrender right now to the energies that are pulling me in a different direction. I don't know why that is. Who knows why that timing is the way it is? I don't know. I mean, certainly I created this 3 months ago when I made the reservations. I could have looked ahead and said, maybe I'd rather be working on my business then, but that's not how the timing was playing out. The timing wasn't in my hands. And so the more that we release ourselves and we have faith and trust that everything that's happening is in right and perfect order, the easier this will be for us. Mimi made a great observation here. Good morning, Cheryl. Good to see you out there live. Ideas will flow to you during that 3 weeks. And that may indeed be exactly what it is all about, right? There's these energies of ideas Sometimes you have to get away from, the thing that's right in your face every day in order to get perspective and be able to see what to do. So from my own life, there it is, right? I want to do one thing. I think it is my generator self that is trying to push me. Remember, I've got all 4 motors defined. I have the will center defined. So I'm in that rare number of people that have that. I have the emotional center, the root center, and of course, the sacral defined. So I'm always in this need to push and do and do and do. And for the next few weeks, it's out of my hand. So ideas, yeah, that's more passive. I am taking a journal with me. I'm taking my trusty phone with me. Some of you might have gotten invitations from me, by the way, last night for an app that I'm having absolute hysterically fun times with, and it's called Marco Polo. So if you have an Android or an iPhone, it doesn't matter which, you can get this app, and then we can exchange video clips with one another of ourselves. So, trust me when I say it's fun, and I'm going to use that when I'm gone to keep in contact with people. You're not live with one another video-wise, so it's you recording a message and sending it to that person, and then that person's recording a message to send back to you. But it's fun. And so if you got that invitation from me, it was an actual invitation. Some of my own kids were like, did this really come from mom, or she been hacked? And so they were telling me that, and I said, no, do it. So we can take care of, being in contact with one another in a new fun way, just in case we're out of contact from not having internet connection or something. So new fun things out there for me to look at. And I would bet they're out there for you to do too, right? Things that are maybe as a way for you to get away from what the problem is that you or the perceived problem, because I don't think there are real problems. There's just these perceived things that we have that are standing in our way. And if we can move out of that energy for a while and just release it, surrender it, and come back to it later, or let it come back to you. Better yet, right? If you're a generator, manifesting generator, projector, you're waiting for something. You're waiting for something or someone to get you engaged in that energy, in that new dynamic. Hold on, I don't think I turned my phone down. And that's what this time is all about. So I told you earlier in the week, I think it was, or maybe it was end of last week, because now all the time is just sort of, mixing up, that I wanted to start sharing with you the energies of the moon through the gates that it will be moving through on any given day. So today we have the gate, the sun. Mercury must be slowing down. Today we have the moon at 2 interesting gates, the gate 38 and the gate 54. So the moon is only transiting through those 2 gates today. Sometimes the moon moves through 3 gates in a day. And that's why the moon, when it triggers something, can be a very short-term sort of event, or it could be the catalyst for something that's going to happen as the ball is sort of handed off to the other planets as the energy moves around your chart. So I really want to take a look at gate 38 today, because next week, as you move into the week of the first week in July, actually Sunday is July 1st, isn't it? Yes, it is. We begin that week with the energy of the earth at gate 38, which is called the gate of struggle or the gate of fight. And then the sun at gate 39, which is the gate of provocation. So we have some really high-powered energies coming up. Let me show you where that is in your human design chart. Gate 38 is sitting right here. Whoever's chart this was that I used as a model has that entire channel of struggle defined. So here's gate 38 on the root center, and gate 50 or gate 54. Well, that's the moon today. Never mind. Gate 39 right here. So I don't want to get into gate 39 too much, but let's just say those 2 gates together, provocation and fight, make for some interesting energies for the entire week. And it makes up our entire week, the 1st through the 6th of July. And Susan, for example, I told her about this in her reading that we did a couple weeks ago, because I saw that in her chart, and it makes connections in her chart that are very powerful. The interesting thing then today is that gate 38 with the moon, we may see a little foreshadow, a foretaste of what's to come next week. So out in the outer world, let's look at it a little bit deeper and see what we can see in this particular gate. The lowest expression of gate 38 energy is struggle, and the gift is perseverance, and the highest expression is honor. You know what I really love? The Gene Keys is written by Richard Rudd, who I think is a Brit, because all of the words, like realization, he spells with an S instead of a Z. Honor is spelled with an Honour instead of OR. And it's just interesting to see different spellings in a book that, normally my English teacher inside of me is screaming, "You spelled it wrong." So anyway, that's just kind of fun. So struggle, perseverance, and honor. So what is struggle, right? What is struggle? Good morning, Gail. Good morning, Michelle Brooks. And let's see, who else did I miss out here? I don't think I missed anybody else. Cheryl, I think I said good morning to you. And so let's talk about the moon then at gate 38 and struggle. And what is that really about? Well, first of all, the gate 38, along with the gate 39, are two of the most aggressive energies in the whole of the human design, in our human design, right? We are designed with this energy, the instinct to aggression when threatened, right? So, which served us well. It served us well in our early days, in our early, tribal days, when we could be threatened by other marauding neighbors. We could be threatened by aggressive animals. So our instinctual reaction, if you will, to threats is aggression. And that's still within our template. It hasn't gone away yet. It hasn't transmuted yet. In our DNA, in our very DNA, lies this energy of struggle, or the fight, the rising to aggression when we feel threatened, either as an individual, as a family, as a community or tribe, as a country or a nation. We still carry this energy. And it is the lower energy of this gate. It's the shadow. The shadow in this gate is reactive energy. It means we knee jerk, right? We still have that very powerful instinct to knee jerk, to fight, sometimes for fight's sake. Have you ever been in a situation, and I have several different times in my life, where two people are getting ready to go at it, and there is almost nothing you can do except getting yourself physically in the middle of it, which guarantees you're going to get hit, or guarantees you're going to get thrown into the battle. Because once the decision to aggression has been made, the reaction is like a chain event. We can't undo the reaction. You can't undo the reaction except for one thing. And the antidote to this aggressive tendency, or to react knee-jerk to threats, is to breathe. And we've talked about this many times, in the respect that when we breathe, we get an opportunity to let go of reaction and to instead choose the action that we're going to take. And that's exactly what we're going to have to be learning next week, right? And you see it all the time, right? We see it all the time, where the energy for fight, we endure a slight, or we perceive a threat. Let's take it all the way back. Let's go back to 9/11. And, there was a sense that it was a terror event, no doubt. And it was designed to trigger that aggressive tendency that this country has. And we did, right? We reacted immediately, even though we didn't have all the facts. And even though we didn't, we really had no evidence that it was Iraq that was at the cause of this. We went to war with Iraq, and then we drew in Afghanistan, and we're still in Afghanistan. Our aggressive reaction, for right or wrong, I'm not saying that we're wrong. I'm just saying our aggressive reaction has created a whole snowball chain event of further conflict in the world, further terror events, further underlining the reasons why some other people might want to go to war with us or might want to terrorize the US. So we do this both physically as an individual, we do it in our families. We think about Thanksgiving dinner. Thank God the earth and the sun aren't at the gate 38 and 39 during Thanksgiving or Christmas. I mean, instead, it's at the 4th of July where at least collectively we can blow up shit and not have, maybe stream our aggression through fireworks in the name of patriotism. I don't know. I hadn't thought of that before now. It just came up thinking that, yeah, of course, maybe there's this collective letting go of some of this more aggressive energy through this patriotism that we feel during this time of the year. Hadn't thought of that before. So maybe it's a great time. Maybe it's a good time so we don't get drawn into other altercations. Now, as we move up, we get into honor being the highest expression. And honor is born out of struggle. The lesson here for us is all to understand what's worth struggling for. What's worth struggling for? What is worth fighting for? Right? What is worth fighting for? And it doesn't have to be an aggression. It doesn't have to be aggressive. We can stand up and fight for our values. I think you see it going on in our country. We certainly see the energy of fight going on yesterday with the announcement that Anthony Kennedy, I think is his last name's Kennedy. Is that his name, Mimi? Anthony Kennedy? Mimi will know. She's my news person. Anyway, he is retiring from the Supreme Court, and so now that leaves a space opening for 45 to elect another conservative judge to the Supreme Court, and could, likely affect decisions coming down from the Supreme Court for a very long time. And the more conservative, of course, is not necessarily where we want our country to head. It's hard for me to see what our country will look like with a conservative court, but it doesn't matter because everything's right and perfect and everything's working, the way it should. But in that is a fight. You see it everywhere. All of the headlines are a fight is brewing, over the appointment of the next Supreme Court justice. And I would say let's not get into a fight, but let's use this energy of struggling to bring about something that is more in alignment with our values, putting a person in place that is more clearly aligned with the majority and not with the minority in this country. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I'm guaranteeing you we're going to see a fight over this, because I think what is going on in the outer world is really showing us where we also have to shift on our own inner world. And how many times are we drawn into a fight with another person, with ourselves, with people we work with our family members, etc. And instead of fighting and being reactive, let's breathe and give yourself the space to decide consciously what to do next. All right. Now, keeping in mind, this energy is just for today, but we're getting the peep show. We're getting the kind of nod to what's happening next week when it becomes longer term, right? That next week's energy is the longer term energy. Today, it's just this blip on the screen. We have another blip on the screen today, and that's the moon will also move through gate 54 much later in the day. The closer that the moon gets to Pluto, the more that the gate 54 comes into being. And we've talked about this gate lately because this is the lower expression of the gate. 54 is greed. The gift in the gate is aspiration, and the highest expression of the gate was ascension. And here what we have then is the greed being defined as the desire to accumulate more and more material things. And I wanted to read something to you from the Gene Keys. This is the Gene Keys book. Gene Keys. You know what? Was it the day before yesterday? A friend of mine I was doing a reading for had a different version of the Gene Keys book. It was one I've not seen at all before. The one that's out now is a white cover with dragonfly on it, and she had one with a dark blue cover with a mandala on the front. It was beautiful. I think it was probably one of the more original, maybe an original cover. Anyway, this is a quote from the Gene Key 54 on the gift side of aspiration, page 421 in the book, if you want to look. I'm not sure if the pages all line up the same, but here is what got me. Wherever energy or money is kept in a liquid state and allowed to flow between people and organizations, prosperity is engendered. Totally different from greed. Greed locks it up. Greed holds it in place. Greed reduces the flow. But aspiration is when energy or money is kept in a liquid state and allowed to flow between people and organizations, and prosperity is engendered. When it is frozen or amassed for too long, it prevents further expansion. The same laws that apply within the human body also apply to society and economics. The flow of prosperity is directly proportional to the flow of energy at all levels within your life, beginning with your own body. That was profound. So let me read that again. The flow of prosperity is directly proportional to the flow of energy at all levels within your life, beginning with your own body, which is the foundation of all journeys to higher consciousness. Gosh, that gave me pause for a moment. It gave me pause because then if your outer world is showing you that there isn't flow, that prosperity isn't flowing, that abundance is, effectively cut off from you, then the place to start is looking at the energy in your own body. That just kind of threw me, right? Have you been sitting at your desk too long? Have you been holed up in your house, not getting out and doing and taking action with your, physicalness? Are you locked down? Where I live and a lot of the country, it's really chilly through the spring. And, we start to, sort of awaken out of the bear cave, during maybe April, May. And yet I found myself the other day just sitting outside on the deck instead of actually going for a walk and, just taking my body and moving it. I've got a beautiful bicycle. I didn't get on that bike. I didn't ride with this beautiful, gorgeous day. The wind was blowing. It was like perfect. The wind was blowing, just, light breeze. And I didn't take the opportunity to go and move my body. So I'm also quite aware now, where are your emotions stuck? Where is it not moving? Where is the energy of your mental state stuck? Where are you stuck up here? And spiritually, where are you stuck? Because when you can resume the flow through those places, then you resume the flow of prosperity and abundance. Because somewhere in some one of those etheric bodies, you got it cut off, or you've diverted the flow perhaps, or you've stopped it from coming in completely to you. So that is an interesting thing for us to think about over the next couple of days as we move through gate 38 and 54 with the moon. Now, Pluto is at gate 54 through the rest of the year. So this isn't, even though the moon may be bringing this up and bringing it to our attention, putting it in our face, Pluto's sitting there for the long haul. And that means that we actually have this opportunity for slow yet insistent empowerment, because that's what Pluto does. Pluto isn't like Uranus where things break in the moment, or, an epiphany happens, or an aha. Pluto puts that slow but insistent pressure on us to transform, to transmute, to become empowered. And Pluto, of course, sitting in Capricorn, right where this full moon was. Later than the full moon, but the moon going to be sitting here and bringing that to our attention. Lastly, I have a definition for greed that I thought was interesting too. Greed is an energy that will compromise its own values and integrity to get what it wants, causing its downfall. So there's a cautionary tale here, right? That if you find yourself in a position where you are compromising your values, or where you're letting go of your integrity, then is greed underneath that? Is it the driving force for you to let go of everything that you value? And, sometimes compromise is a good thing. And perhaps what we see here is that the compromise of your values and integrity for the sake of money or greed or power isn't a good thing at all. And it leads to your downfall. It certainly led to the downfall of civilizations. It's led to the downfall of many a leader in our world throughout history. And are we being set up to see another downfall of a leader, of a country? I don't know. But I can tell you that we, in our own country here, and I know some of you may be in other countries hearing the sound of my voice, and maybe even within your own countries, within your own communities, you may be struggling with this energy of what is it that we value? And integrity, remember, I've said it many times, is an interesting word. It is not a moralistic choice. Integrity is a choice, a personal choice. The root word for integrity comes from the word integument, which is your skin. And it is a word that says being true to your own skin, being in your own skin, being true to yourself. It begins there. So when you align with your values, then your outer world begins to align accordingly as well. All right. I think that's all I have for everybody. Let's take a look. Is anybody asking questions? Let's see. Gail saying, love this knowledge to grow myself. I do too. I think the Gene Keys is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And a lot of this comes from my own personal contemplation of the Gene Keys. It comes from my personal work, from, the things that are coming up in my own life. And I love that book is available to us as a contemplation. Stephanie, good morning. I'll be talking to Stephanie a little bit later here. Cindy saying, oh my goodness, I'm getting better at not allowing that sort of energy around me. Absolutely. But guess what? If it's around you, the test isn't about, oh my God, I've got to get rid of this energy. It's about, how do I rise to that occasion? How do I use that energy to live my values and be in my own integrity? Because you can't always control what's going on. And I swear the universe is like a giant trickster at times, right? You think you've licked something and the very next day it's in your face again. Why? Because it's almost like maybe a test of, let's not call it a test because that's got such a negative connotation. It's an opportunity for you to try out your new skills at non-reaction, at breathing before you react to something, of having the space to be able to choose as opposed to react. It's about freedom here. Interestingly enough, the sun next week at gate 39, and I'll talk more about this probably tomorrow, the sun at gate 39, provocation, has an interesting ending, and its ending is in liberation. Or its highest, let me rephrase that. Its highest expression, its gift, and the siddhi is liberation. But it's across the channel from gate 55, which is abundance through spirit, abundance, right? But the highest expression and the gift of abundance is freedom. So provocation frees us. Fight, struggle, gives us an opportunity to make sure we are working for the right things. Right? That that we are aspiring to the right things, that we're persevering in the energies that are correct for us, and not just doing things that aren't good for us or not right for us. Let's see. Mimi, I love you. She says, not sure of the first name of the justice that we were talking about that's stepping down. It's new to her. She's calling him 045 instead of 45. Oh, I love it. Okay, so 045. He's really a pretty good example of where we have to clean out our own closets, right? He's existing in our outer world. And every time I look at him and I want to go, you jackass, you idiot, you jerk, you narcissistic, what? Now I'm stopping. Well, maybe not. Because, I like to sometimes just say it out loud just to get it off my chest. But then I have to really look at, what is he showing me about me? This choker's getting chokier, because if you don't turn it around and look at it from that standpoint, there's no growth. So we have to grow by taking a look at what all that outer world stuff that's happening means for us personally. That's why we're here, right? Somebody somewhere, and this was just recently, said that we're the embodiment of God on the planet. So If you're the embodiment of God on the planet, then God is exploring the shadow and the gift and the Siddhic expression of everything that there is in the human design through you, right? At various times through you. There are specific ways in which she is experiencing you, and they're through your defined channels and your defined gates. And then there are the more inconsistent ones that maybe other people around you are showing you that help you understand yourselves better. All right. Well, the antidote: breathe first, then act. Don't react. Act, not react. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Enjoy the energy, and much love to all of you. We'll see you tomorrow. It'll be my last day for a while, so I'll have a lot to talk about. All right. Take care. Bye for now.